This video covers the IGCSE Biology Objective 7.5.5 on the 2025 CAIE syllabus to describe the role of capillaries and lacteals. All right, so let's just remind ourselves of the structure of the villi so that way we can understand what we're going to discuss in the next few slides. So first of all, we have an artery which becomes arterioles, which is just a smaller artery that is going to be coming from the heart. This is going to lead to the blood capillaries in the villi for absorption, and that is going to exit out into the hepatic portal vein, which goes directly to the liver, and we'll talk about that in the following slides, what happens in the liver. We also have a lymph vessel that is going to lead to the lacteal in the villi, which also is going to be for absorption. This will circulate through the lymphatic system, and we'll talk about what happens there as well. Okay, so let's talk about the role of the capillaries here, as pictured here in this video. So the capillaries are for absorption and transport of glucose, amino acids, mineral ions, vitamins, and water. So most of the components that have gone through digestion. So absorption is going to start as diffusion. So therefore we see that those molecules go in just due to concentration gradient. But as more and more molecules of glucose and amino acids and ions move into the blood, the concentration gradient is going to change. And if we just relied on simple diffusion, those molecules would not move into the blood. So what's going to happen is active transport is going to be required. So therefore, the oxygen in the blood will be used to create energy to do respiration in those cells. And that will then create a situation where we have deoxygenated blood leaving the villi. As the blood comes out of the capillaries, it will lead into a venule, which is just a small vein. That leads to what is called the hepatic portal vein and takes all of those digested molecules to the liver. The liver will assimilate these substances, and we'll talk about what assimilation is in just a few minutes. So the role of the lacteal is for the absorption of fatty acids and glycerol. You may have noticed in the previous slide that I did not mention these molecules. This is because these lipid molecules are actually, while they are small enough to get through the lining of the small intestine, they're insoluble in water, and so therefore they cannot go directly into the blood because that will cause blood clotting, and we don't want that to happen, of course. So what's going to happen is they're going to enter the lymph system through the lacteal, and then they will be modified as they travel through the lymph system, and eventually they'll join the circulatory system at what is called the subclavian vein. This is under the collarbone, and you can see here in this little drawing where that location is. And you can see the green lymph vessels joining the subclavian vein, which will go then, and now those molecules will be circulated through the circulatory system and get to body cells. So let's briefly talk about assimilation. So we have some blood vessels attached to the liver. They'll have this word hepatic, and that just refers to the blood vessels that are around the liver, that function with the liver. So assimilation is the movement of digested food molecules into the cells of the body to be used. So the hepatic portal vein is going to transport digested food molecules to the liver. The hepatic artery is going to bring oxygenated blood to the liver for its functions. The liver has many, many functions, but two of those functions related to digestion are to take excess amino acids and deaminate them into urea. Now, when we study the excretory system, we will learn what deamination is, but basically the liver takes the amino acids and breaks them up into different parts. The waste part is going to be turned into urea, which will eventually become urine in the kidneys and then be removed by the bladder. The liver also takes excess glucose and changes it to glycerol. This is going to be stored for late, perhaps if there's a need for energy and there's not enough glucose in the blood, then the liver will convert it back into glucose at a later date. The hepatic vein now is going to take any usable glucose and amino acids. They will leave the liver and then they'll be transported around the body to be used by the body cells.